Evening, everybody. Welcome to RFL. I'm Richard French. It was day 4 of the Shelley Silver corruption trial, and one of the central figures accused of being involved in Silver's multi-million-dollar kickback scheme. He took the stand again today. In a few minutes, we will get a live report on all the details from inside the courtroom. But now to our other top story, and that's the race for the White House and the latest, who else, Donald Trump controversy.
Hey, hey, ho, ho, Donald Trump has got to go.
Now, those folks want NBC to dump Trump from hosting SNL this weekend. They're upset, among many things, but they're most upset about Donald's inflammatory comments about immigration and Mexicans. But SNL, they've made it clear they are not backing down, just releasing these promos for the upcoming show.
Because of equal time rules for television, Mr. Trump can only speak for 4 seconds in this promo.
So let me just say this. Ben Carson is a complete and total loser.
Donald has promised that for the whole show, he is not going to brag or say he's the best at anything. Right, Donald?
That's right, Cecily. And I'm going to do the best job anyone's ever done not saying it.
Now, Trump also has actually spent a few dollars on this campaign. I'll give the man credit. He's gotten to this point without spending his own coin, but he's actually dropped a few bucks. And this is a part of one of the ads that is now in Iowa.
Our country is in deep trouble because, let's face it, politicians are all talk, no action. My opponents have no experience in creating jobs or making deals. The fact is, I'm going to make the greatest trade deals we've ever made in our country, and I'm going to bring jobs and money back to the United States.
He also said, you know what? They won't, I'll never disappoint you. Because why? Because I produce. And that is his argument to be commander-in-chief. All right, let's bring in our panel right now. Richard Brodsky, we'll see if he can get him out of his shell here and say something. Absolutely. A vocal Trump supporter and a former Democratic New York State Assemblyman, now a senior fellow at Demos, professor at NYU, professional gadfly. Dominic Carter, political journalist and author, and Jessica Proud, Republican strategist, PR expert with the November team, and ready for Richard tonight. Okay. If you're SNL, do you do what they do and say, I don't care how many protests you are, at the end of the day, we're in this for ratings, he'll deliver the ratings, and we'll let him host the show?
Of course. Donald Trump is like tailor-made for SNL. I'm surprised it took them this long to have him on. I mean, look, it's part of this like PC culture. You know, he should have every opportunity to do it. I don't think it's, you know, they can go out and protest, but at the end of the day, I don't think it's a big deal.
I think he should be able to do it. I'm probably going to watch it. It's funny. But let's not kid ourselves. There's something at stake here. If he hadn't spoken about Mexicans, but about high-powered female political consultants, and said very bad things about them, somebody else might be on a picket line explaining why it's inappropriate for him to be
they have every right to be out there picketing, but, you know, at the end of the day, SNL is owned by NBC, which is a news organization. They've had Hillary on. It's a tradition to have presidential candidates come on. And, I mean, everyone's excited to watch. Come on.
Hey, Dom, under equal time here, I know you say do it. You know, they're in it for the buck, and this will get the biggest amount of eyeballs, which equals revenue. Is there any argument that, hey, this is an equal time argument? You're going to give this guy a candidate here, a platform. Why aren't you going to do it for the rest of them? Why aren't you going to let Ben Carson, who already said he wouldn't do it if offered, but nonetheless give somebody else a platform to host?
The other candidates might make that argument. NBC will probably ignore them. I don't think it's fun to be made fun of. So I don't take it in a joking way. And I'm kind of disappointed in Trump the last couple of weeks because he's bigger than this. He's playing himself as an outright clown these days. And
can he argue it's worked for him to this point?
Yeah, perhaps, but we'll see. But it's going to be interesting because, in my opinion, if the protesters really wanted to protest Trump, all they're doing is making this episode bigger by protesting.
And I think this will actually help him more than the radio ads that he's doing because he can poke fun of himself and he can come off as likable, and it kind of downplays those negatives a little bit.
It's fine to get a businessman who knows how to do a deal and negotiate and all this.
You joke, and I know you kid because you care, but talking about businessmen and showing financial acumen, Marco Rubio, who certainly has seen his stock rise here if you look at the polls, and people are thinking that he, maybe instead of Jeb Bush, would be the establishment candidate that might emerge from all this. He is continuing to dismiss attacks about his personal finances. Rubio nearly had one of his homes foreclosed upon. He was slammed with a big penalty for taking money out of his retirement account. And when pressed on these issues, here was his response.
You had to draw down on your retirement account to pay living expenses. Does that show?
No, I didn't. That's not accurate. So the bottom line is I obviously don't come from a wealthy family. I had student loans I had to pay off. I only have one debt in the world, which is my mortgage on the home that me and my family live in Miami. And as I said, we're running for president, and I wanted to make sure we had cash on hand for all kinds of things that come up.
Now, that's as good an answer as anyone's going to come up with. I mean, I was watching it when he said it. I was like, slick. However, should it matter?
We're running for president? Is he the queen now? We're running for president?
I think he was talking about the family because the question that was posed had to do with his
We are not
family's
amused.
finances. Nonetheless, it does say something. And think about you running a campaign against an opponent here, and that opponent has had problems in their personal finances. You're going to be commander-in-chief here, the biggest economy in the world, and your argument is that you're going to take an axe here to the finances and make sure we're going to balance budgets and the rest. You're open to criticism to say you couldn't balance your own checkbook.
Sure. I mean, it's fair game, and I think it is an issue that he has to address and do it very transparently and forthright. But at the end of the day, I mean, if you look at the way it plays into his narrative that he might be too young and not ready, and that's a problem. But at the end of the day, it's, you know, he's answered this question. This has come up in other elections. So is it going to be a major issue? I don't think so.
Some say, Richard, his answer isn't completely true, how he's answering it, that it always just, you know, newspapers making much ado about nothing. When you do look into the personal finances here, more than once a red flag's come up that the number wasn't paid right, had to go, I think, take out a second mortgage or whatever else. Does this appeal, you think, to the general public to say, oh, I had my own personal finance problems? Or does it say, it's a little bit different if this guy wants to be, you know, president of the United States?
We think that Jessica is right because we believe that when we are running for president, we should, you know, listen to this guy carefully because he's slick. And in the end, what's going to bring him down isn't the peccadillos, and I think there are probably a few small others. That'll get discussed. It's the notion that you look at him twice and he's a little slick. And this will feed into that narrative, and I think hurt him. Whether it hurts him enough to deny him the nomination, I wouldn't overstate it, but we are not amused.
It should matter, though, right, Don?
Of course it matters. It points to character. It points to character. And Jessica's assessment is correct. It plays into the narrative of, look at this young pretty boy. And when you look beneath the surface, it doesn't pass the smell test.
There's no one in the world who's perfect.
So right, exactly.
Richard,
and when you put that up against
I was about
Hillary
to give you
Clinton,
credit until you just made that comment.
Can't handle
okay.
it. Yeah.
Richard is right, and I'm glad he used the word as opposed to me. There's a certain slickness about Rubio, and I'm telling you, it doesn't pass. I'm basing this on a 30-year experience as a political reporter.
Yeah, but you know what?
Doesn't pass the smell
when
test.
I heard his answer, he said,
and it's
hey,
gonna
listen,
come out.
unlike the other ones, I don't come from a dynasty family. Unlike other ones here, I had to scrimp and scrape to get through college here.
Right.
I
Sounds
was
good.
brought up poor, so I stole. No. You can't get away with that. He's going to have to answer the questions, and he better have pretty good answers, and maybe you can get by it. But it's still going to leave a little voice in the back of people's heads saying,
Okay.
I mean, to me, I just really quickly, I think the mortgage and the school loans, that's a little bit less of an issue, but there was some discrepancies about the credit cards and using the party's credit cards. Right. That, I think, is causing a little more
And both the Tampa Times and the other
raised.
papers are saying his answer is not accurate here. It wasn't that, you know, he paid for it clearly or identified it in one account. They had to go back 2 or 3 times. There'll be much more of a feeling on that story. All right. Things were pretty polite in the A-Bump. When we come back, I guarantee you there will not be unanimity on this one. You probably all love his movies. Richard just sneezed. Director Quentin Tarantino. Big movie coming out here. But he's also in the middle of a big controversy, and it has nothing to do with what was on film, but rather his comments off camera. Specifically, inflammatory remarks about the cops. Will that impact the box office? And the question is, should it?